Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I made it here eventually. I-25 had some closures, so I kind of snaked my way here. And my husband, Matt, was able to make it. Our two kids, I guess, came in from the downstairs entrance, so they saw the toys. So they got intercepted by the toys. So you will have to say hi to them after the service. They are both here, my 2.5-year-old and 5-year-old. Let's go ahead and pray. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be pleasing to you, O God. Amen. So hello, my name is Amy, and I am a recovering competitor. Let me explain. So as a kid, I had to win. I had to win against my peers at anything that I thought was worth winning at, whether it was board games, writing or speech competitions, ping pong. I had to be first chair in band, and academics was the worst. In 4th grade, there was this weekly assignment, and every single week I would get an A+ on it. Well, one week I got an A, no plus. I took that piece of paper, I crumpled it up, I shoved it under the couch, and I was so humiliated and embarrassed because I was not an A student. I was an A+ student. Now, if I couldn't win, because of course I couldn't win everything, I would usually just quit. So I've been working on recovery from this for the last couple decades, and I feel like I'm getting much better, but I still struggle with being too hard on myself and with people's perceptions of me. So one of those moments on the journey to recovery happened at Mountain States Assembly a couple years ago in Canyon City with the Sabbath theme. I know some of you were there at that one. So there were some people tossing around a Frisbee, and I joined the group. Now I am shockingly terrible at Frisbee because it was something I would quit growing up rather than try to win at. So when I throw a Frisbee, I think I'm throwing it in front of me, and it often ends up like on the side of me or like actually like behind me. So like laws of physics wise, it's very confusing. Like I don't even know how it happens. But I had fun, right? Like I laughed with this group. I played Frisbee. I wasn't great, but it was fun. However, I was so bad that one of the players, who shall remain nameless because I wouldn't want to make him feel bad, although he did give me permission to share the story, he took off his pastor hat. He took off his Mountain States Mennonite Conference moderator hat. And he put on his trash-talking sibling hat. And he said to me, and I quote, "Wow, Amy, you were bad. You were so bad, I was embarrassed for you." I was embarrassed for you. That's a direct quote. Now, he's a nice guy. So before you give him a hard time, you have to know that he was right. Like, that's how bad I was. And he is on the gifts discernment committee. So he discerned correctly that Frisbee throwing is not, in fact, the gift that I have to share with humanity. But what he didn't know, with his Glennon Heights pastor hat still solidly on the ground, is that each time I fail miserably in front of other people, it's not a failure. It's another step towards recovery. Blessed are the losers. Blessed are those who embarrass themselves, the people in touch with the reality that they don't have it all together. They live in a vulnerable body, in a vulnerable world, and they know it. Blessed are the folks who cry too much, who just aren't getting over it. Blessed are the folks crazy enough to think that maybe they should check their privilege now and again. Blessed are the ones who stop and help when they really don't have the time for it. Blessed are those who are authentic, whose inner world matches their actions. Blessed are those who get hurt and it doesn't even occur to them to strike back. And because of Barry, I would make an addendum to this. Blessed are the children and their parents for their love abounds even in the vomit, the poop, the giggling, the crying, and the cuddles. So many cuddles. Jesus' list of blessings kicking off this Sermon on the Mount is something, isn't it? Now, the form of these blessings is nothing new. There were many sayings about the good life circulating among first century Palestinian Jews at the time. Happy or blessed is the man who finds wisdom, Proverbs tells us. For the gain from it is better than the gain from silver, and its profit better than gold. Or the psalmist writes, happy are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the way of the Lord. And if you tune your ears, you'll hear plenty of beatitudes in the airwaves today. These truth claims about the good life, they're everywhere, from advertisers, athletes, politicians, whether explicit or implied. In our dominant cultural narrative, blessings go to the winners, of course, and not everyone can be a winner. There's just not enough to go around. Blessed are the thin and gorgeous. Blessed are the already rich and powerful, for they will inherit some sort of political office. Blessed are you when you buy this product, for it will definitely solve all your problems. Blessed are the winners, for theirs is a trophy and the glory, right? That's America. We're gorgeous winners who buy stuff and tell people what to do. Now, with all our emphasis on winning, it's tempting to just kind of impose that logic on Jesus's teachings, right? To interact with the Beatitudes like you would interact with a list of rules of engagement. Here's how you win the game. Moses goes up on the mountain, receives the 10 commandments. Jesus goes up on a different mountain, receives the Beatitude commandments. Do this, you get the prize, right? But in this list, you'll notice that Jesus is not telling anyone what to do. He's telling us how things already are. The Beatitudes don't prescribe so much as they describe who is already blessed or happy or fortunate or blissful are other ways to translate this word. And even though the form of Jesus's list echoes other lists in his day and ours, the content is quite strange, isn't it? Fortunate are the poor, the sad, the tyrannized. If we took a tour of the places where folks who embody Jesus's blessings are most likely to be found, we wouldn't go to the halls of power or watch advertisements on TV. No, we'd visit emergency rooms, prison cells, funeral homes, refugee camps, or run-down apartments with cockroaches. So what is Jesus really getting at in blessing so many unlikely recipients? I want to talk through just a few of these blessings to see if we can pick up his logic. So this one, blessed are those who mourn. Well, no one wants to be sad, right? But when I think of some fellow people alive on this earth who I love deeply, and even the thought of something bad happening to them knocks the breath out of me a little bit, maybe that's what Jesus is getting at. We mourn deeply because we love deeply. And in this isolating, individualistic culture, the mourners among us have had people to love. Every lament is a love song, after all. As painful as it is, who could be more blessed than someone with a deep, deep love? Or blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Let's look at this one. When I first looked up the definition of meek, it said quiet, gentle, easily imposed on, submissive. Submissive. Ooh, submissive. I have to have some words with submissive. So I've been working on this national study to hear the voices of Mennonite women in leadership, and I'm hearing again and again how harmful it is when submission is imposed on them, right? One of the most common stories that they tell me is getting ignored, getting talked over in meetings, sometimes literally being silenced where people will say, stop talking regularly to them in meetings. No joke. So meekness imposed on others is oppression, right? There's nothing blessed about that. But what if there's a better way to understand meekness? So I found a second definition of it. To be meek is to restrain one's own privilege for the sake of others. To be meek is to restrain one's own privilege for the sake of others. Then you can choose to be meek as an act of justice, not imposing it on anyone else, but giving up your privileges for the sake of the community. The next beatitude, of course, is blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness or justice. So maybe the meekness and the justice must go hand in hand. And then the second part, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. I'm glad we brought in Todd Winward and Tilt this morning. I find it fascinating that the land itself is named here. Because think about it. It's vital that we restrain ourselves for the sake of the earth, isn't it? We could continue as a human species with unchecked growth, unchecked pollution, unchecked ways of living that destroy the environment, or we could collectively live in such a way that our children's children will have an earth to inherit. Blessed are the meek, for they and all who come after them will be able to inherit the earth. Or take blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. I know many folks in the broader society, in extended family, who think it's almost hilarious to even try to respond to violence with peace. But when I talk to children, my own and others, they seem to get it. Why would you bomb someone for the sake of peace, right? Why would a weapon be a good way to solve problems? My older son and I have a bit of a raw tools inspired chant. When we see a gun on TV or something, I say, "What is that gun good for?" And he says, "A garden tool." But that's the naivete of children, right? Well, maybe not. Folks at Harvard have found that peaceful, nonviolent resistance was over twice as successful in creating broad-based regime change than violent campaigns were in the 20th century. So from the years 1900 to 2006. Peaceful resistance is twice as effective as war. Why are we told the lie that peace is somehow wimpy and ineffective when it's twice as powerful in bringing change as war is, even in our nuclear age? Blessed are the peacemakers, for they, with the innocence of children, will be called children of God rather than children of empire. Whew, the logic that we see in the Beatitudes is something else, isn't it? As Joanna Harroder puts it, in the Beatitudes, we see that Jesus is not changing the rules of the game, as Ryan mentioned earlier. He's not saying the winners used to be the arrogant, the powerful, the selfish, the violent, and now we have new winners and losers. No, Jesus isn't just adapting the game or establishing new criteria for winning. He's throwing the game out entirely, like you'd throw a frisbee, or like I would throw a frisbee, which means it's just gone. Jesus is quitting the game altogether, and he's inviting his followers to quit as well. In this act of extravagant blessing, Jesus exposes the lies at the heart of the game. The lie that says, if someone else gets something, then there's less for me. The lie that says, if there are winners, there must be losers. No, this kingdom is big enough for all. This kingdom can't help but bless. It's extravagant. It's shockingly inclusive. It's not, thou shalt not. It's blessed are you. Blessed are you. Blessed are you. So may we be a people who are playing a different game entirely, not of competition and getting ahead, but of blessing upon blessings for all, especially those most hurting and most marginalized who could really use some bliss in this hard world. And may we be a people so bad at pretending we have it all together, so bad at hoarding our wealth, so bad at stepping on someone else to get ahead, so bad at exploiting God's creation, so bad at winning in the wrong game, that we end up just kind of laughing and embarrassing ourselves. May it be so. Amen.